Welcome to the Orion Sportscast Podcast, the most refreshing analysis, insight, and opinions in the world of sports. Here are your hosts, Josh Egan and Brandon Waterhouse.
All right, we are back. We got a pretty good episode today. I don't think it'll be very long. Just a couple big stories in the sporting world. We're done exams. We're freed up. Our time is good till the 18th. We are making some headway and some pretty big guests. We're not going to announce them yet, but we're finalizing some dates. So we got some big interviews coming for you guys. And we are personally super excited about a couple of them. And I know you guys will be too. So thanks for tuning in. And this is going to be a good episode. I think we got this one, maybe one more before Christmas. And then we'll kind of pick it back up after Christmas. But we got the World Juniors coming up. Some big NFL games. There's going to be an NFL game on Christmas this year. I was made aware of that like yesterday. I didn't know they were playing on Christmas. The NBA is tipping off in 2 days. So we got a lot of sports coming at us. But most importantly, most recently announced, the NHL have all but confirmed a start date for their season. They will be starting, as has been leaked to everybody for like the last, I think we've known this for like a month, January 13th. But they did have to iron out a couple of other details. And one thing that was holding them up is they want a Canadian division, which would allow the Canadian teams to play in Canada, but they weren't sure if the provinces were going to sign off on it. And every province has all but dotted the lines and dotted the T's and circled the O's, except for BC. So Vancouver is not going to be able to play in their home arena, it looks like. Which, yeah, isn't too big of a deal because you can easily move one team as opposed to 7. So it looks like some leaders for where they're going to play is either Quebec City or in Toronto. So you're going to have the Quebec Canucks or the Toronto Canucks. But I just think it's funny that the government of BC doesn't want to see Mitch Marner outplay any of their players. So that's probably why they're doing it. But it's all about their health restrictions and concerns, and they don't want people traveling in and out of the province. But it wasn't going to be a flawless execution of what was happening. But, we're going to get hockey back. And if that means one team isn't playing in their home arena, then that's what it has to be. But there was a bunch of other things they got caught up on, and teams had questions, and they still are ironing out the details. But I'm expecting an announcement today or tomorrow that everything has been signed off on. And the most important thing that GMs and owners wanted to know were the dates for the season. So like free agency, all that good stuff, player deadlines, opt-out deadlines, all that. So I have the dates written down here. But it's going to be a fast-paced season just looking at these dates because everything is really, really crammed together, and I cannot find the tweet with the dates. I'm just burning time here, and I found it. Yeah, so the waiver period begins. So you are going to be allowed a taxi squad of 4 to 6 players, minimum 4, maximum 6. One of them does have to be a goalie if you do not have 3 active goalies on the roster. The thing is, those players do have to clear waivers to be on the taxi squad. So the waiver period begins December 28th. On December 31st, the non-playoff teams, their training camp begins, and they have specified a non-playoff team as the teams that were not inside the bubble. So for 7 teams, their training camp will begin December 31st, which is in 11 days. On January 3rd, the teams that were inside the bubble start their training camp. So they are giving 4 extra days for the non-playoff teams. I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make. 10 days after January 3rd, on January 13th, the season will start. No exhibition games, shortened training camp. It's going to be a sprint to start the season. February 1st, this is where it starts to get interesting. Teams can start asking players to waive their no movement clause for the expansion draft purpose. We have Seattle coming in next year, and there's going to be an expansion draft in the offseason, and they are going to be able to claim players from all 31 teams. So teams are going to be able to ask players to waive their no movement clauses or non-trade clauses and able to start preparing for that expansion draft. On April 12th, we have the trade deadline. And then on May 8th, the season ends. 3 days later, May 11th, the playoffs will begin. And the playoffs will run until the latest July 15th. So May, June, July, playoff hockey. So it's going to be a similar format to it was last year. We think there's going to be a play-in round, but not 100% sure on that. 24 hours after the playoff ends, the buyout period begins. So you can buy out contracts if you're still eligible to do it. And then on July 21st is the Seattle Kraken expansion draft. That's going to be fascinating to see since it's only a 56 game season, stale cap. I don't know how teams are going to react to this. It's going to be really interesting to see who's left available to grab. And then on July 23rd and the 24th, we have the entry draft. And then on July 28th is the free agency begins. And then July 29th is when all the hockey insiders will be heading up to their cottage. So that's a lot of dates I've just thrown at you. My main takeaway from this is a lot is happening in a couple months there. And that's going to be busy, busy, busy.
Yeah, man, I got a quick question first. Like I forgot my microphone in my room, but is my sound okay? Like just through my laptop?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Anyway, a lot of news going on in the NHL for sure. And especially if you've been waiting for it, right? Especially like if you're someone who's just been deprived of, not only the hockey, but just like the news of when it would come back, right?
Yeah. And it all came out at once. Like it was, and the board of governors meetings, they're always at like 5 p.m. on a weekend or a Friday. So the news always breaks at like 8 o'clock at night. So I'm checking Twitter and all this news is coming out, like all the insiders, Friedman, McKenzie, Johnson, they're all reporting all this cool stuff. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. But like, just sign off on the deal so I know it's going to happen. And
yeah.
the one thing that has me concerned is the Canucks not being able to play in their home arena, but I don't think it's going to be too big of a deal. They'll probably end up there a couple games into the season once the BC government sees what the safety plan is. But yeah, it's exciting. It's going to happen. And I had totally, like with everything going on, I had totally forgotten that there was an expansion draft coming up. And it's going to be the same rules that Vegas had. But I don't know if teams are going to fall into the same trap they did with Vegas, because Vegas fleeced teams in that. And I don't think the Kraken are going to be able to do that this time, especially with a flat cap for the next couple of years. So it's going to be fascinating to see how teams approach this this expansion draft and how the Kraken approach it. They have a really good analytical approach. They have probably one of the most in-depth front offices. So I'm excited for this season, man. Like it's going to be fast-paced. It's going to be good. 56-game season, all Canadian division, which I have a bone to pick with the NHL because apparently they're going to call it the North Division. Just call it the Canadian division. That's what we want. I know it's a little bone to pick. It just kind of bugs me. I don't know why. It just does. Like North Division. No, it's the.
I'm excited to see where the Canucks go.
Yeah, I think it'll be. Quebec. They have an arena there they can play in, so. Or like, I don't know. Maybe they'll go to the States, but probably not because they want them in the Canadian division. But we'll see. And then a couple other things in the NHL. The format of the season right now is that the top 4 teams from each division. So they have East, West, Central, and North. So look it up. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but look up your divisions yourself. Top 4 teams from each division will make the playoffs. And then you play within your own division until the semifinals, which pretty much not pretty much, it guarantees a Canadian team will be in the Final 4 this year, which is exciting for us as Leafs fans because the Leafs are looking like the strongest team in the North Division. So could be seeing a conference final berth for the Leafs this year. I'm not going to cross my fingers too hard though, because they kind of shit the bed in the playoffs, but we'll see where that goes. Any thoughts on all that news I just threw at you?
Yeah. It's not really like thoughts. It's just kind of wait. Like I'm just waiting, I want to see the hockey. I want to witness what it's really going to look like, especially because you're just not going to see all the matchups you're used to seeing, right? Like Canadian versus like Crosby versus Matthews or McDavid versus Matthews. Yeah. If it's a North Division, you're going to be limited to a bunch of different matchups. But at least for like Canadian primetime TV, that gives us a lot to watch.
Right. And it's going to be fun because the number one question always asked in the Canadian hockey markets is who is the best Canadian team? And it looks like we're going to find that out this year because you're going to be playing each team 6, 7, 8, 9 times. So that's going to be rivalries will be born. Rivalries will be reignited. It's going to be fast-paced hockey, fast-paced fun. And even like the off-season moves are going to be amazing to watch, especially the one thing that really, really has my attention is the waiver situation where if players go on the taxi squad, they have to clear waivers. So, for example, a player like Aaron Dell, who is slated to be the Leafs' third goaltender, for him to be on the taxi squad, he's going to have to clear waivers, and he might be a pickup for a team that just lost a goalie, like the Washington Capitals just lost Henrik Lundqvist. Wow, that was smooth. So Henrik Lundqvist will not be playing this season due to a heart condition. He announced on Instagram he will be sitting out this season just to kind of recuperate. He didn't announce his retirement. He just says he's going to be sitting this season out. So the Capitals are without a backup or start. I don't know what role they were going to use him in. But they're without Lundqvist, so they're going to be looking for another goalie. So maybe if a goalie like Aaron Dell or any of these third goaltenders go on waivers, they could be picked up. But we'll see how that goes. It's going to be interesting. But, you know, our thoughts are with Henrik Lundqvist and his family. Hopefully he can figure it out. And I think he's kind of looking out for his long-term health. You don't really mess around with heart conditions.
No, man, for sure. What's this you got about the fixing? I remember you talked about it, but I don't know what league it was because it's not really the NHL.
Right. So match fixing it's highly illegal and unethical, but pretty much it's very common in soccer and like European sports almost, kind of under the table players fix the match to who's going to win or tie or whatever. So we've seen it before in soccer. There's been some big ones in World Cup games. There's been some in like third division soccer games, but we've never really seen one at the hockey level. This one was kind of, I don't even know like the word to describe it because they were cleared of all suspicion, but I still find it suspicious. It was two teams in the second tier Swedish league, and this happened on last Monday, I believe. And it happened between a team, I'm going to mess up the name of the team, but the team in question was their second place overall in the standings, completely blowing the league away. Boygenloven, Bjorkloven. I have no idea how to say it. But the investigation was launched pretty much right after an 8-4 loss to Mora, who are dead last in the league, after they surrendered 8 straight goals after building a 3-0 lead after the first. But the concern wasn't what happened on the ice. It was what happened in the sports books. And we've talked about sports books on here and how you can live bet. The betting market on that game totally flipped because the team in question, let's try it again, Boygenloven, they entered the night as favorites, but that extended by like 20 points while leading 3-1 after 10 minutes. But the odds were holding because of Mora. But the betting companies themselves were scrutinized because apparently there was like an error. And the gambling on the game was so like unusual that betting books took it off the board, and it kind of looked like there was some inside work going on. And it's all been sorted out. But if you look at the highlights from this game, I think there is something there because on one of the plays, the goalie just gives up, doesn't even try to stop the puck. There was a 2-on-1 where the defender just lets the guy walk right by. Like there were a couple goals where it looks like the team wasn't even trying it, that they wanted to lose the game because there was money on the game from the players. And, you know, in a second tier Swedish league, I don't know if that would happen because I don't know how much they're paid, but I don't know. It's kind of suspicious, and we'll see where that is.
We're getting on top of it, right?
Yeah.
We're getting on top of it early, so.
Yeah, and just of note, the goalie in net who gave up 8 goals was Connor Ingram, and he is he's a Nashville Predators prospect, and he was in net for the Canadian World Junior team, and he allowed 5 goals on 14 shots. So, and then what was kind of weird was he was immediately sent back to Canada after that game. So a couple of red flags, but apparently they've been cleared. I don't know. I just, you and I were talking, we think we're going to do a couple specials, and one of them we're going to look at is like kind of controversies in sports like this. We'll kind of loop together burner accounts, betting on games from the players, you know, insider trading within the game. And I think we're going to look at those and do that in a special episode. Maybe we'll do that over the holiday break.
Yeah, for sure.
And then a couple more things in the hockey world. The NWHL is preparing for their bubble. The players they're practicing again. The Toronto Six finally got their change room reveal, and I encourage you to check out that video because It might not look like much of a change room, but if you check out the other change rooms in women's hockey, this one it blew the players away. Like their reaction was really, really cool to see. Like, wow, this team's actually giving us something to work with. And the whole arena is decked out in Toronto 6 like home attire. Even though they won't be playing there, they'll be playing at Lake Placid for the bubble tournament. And we will have some more stuff to do with the Toronto 6 later down the line. There's a little bit of a tease for you. No more on that though. But I'm excited for this bubble to start. It's going to be a lot of fun to see these women show off their skills on the ice. I'm pumped up for that NWHL bubble, and
I'm getting a lot more excited for it now.
Right, and maybe in their inaugural season, our hometown Toronto 6 can bring home the Isabel Cup, which would be awesome.
Too.
And then finally, we have the World Juniors starting soon. They are in a little bit of trouble. 8 German players tested positive, 2 Swedish coaches tested positive. Sweden had a practice, I think it was yesterday, and the team doctor had to run it because no coaching staff was available because they were.
Imagine that.
I know, right? Like you're out there.
Would you listen to it? Would you do the drills? Would you do it like that? Or like what the fuck? Like, or the captains could do it.
I don't know. Like I would, of course.
I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not like sorry to interrupt you again, but like in my experience, we've had coachless practices just where the coach couldn't show up, and he designated it to our captain to run, and he did it great. The guys wanted to pay attention and do the stuff like, but if it was ever like an assistant coach or a trainer, like junior boys, it's different. I don't know. Our level is just like, who the fuck is this guy trying to tell me what to do? Like, I am not going to do the horseshoe 5 times like we do in play.
I don't think it was a situation where the team doctor came up with the practice plan and they were working on like overloading the left wing on a breakout, and the team doctor's like, actually, I think we're going to work on a neutral zone push instead.
No, it was just for like the ratio to have someone on the ice.
Yeah, I don't think he was trying to change their whole game approach. The head coach probably gave him some drills and some video, and it's like, hey, work on this, and let's not change our whole power play.
I was just going to dives a little bit too far into it, kind of makes a story out of it, but it's like it's funny to see, right?
Yeah, no, I read that. I was like, but the photo with the guy, he looks so happy just to be coaching his first World Junior practice. It was kind of funny. Funny.
What if you were just like the intern tag along trainer, and all of a sudden you get to step out there on the ice with the team? It's kind of like
that's
whatever.
Kind of funny. But teams were supposed to have. I think starting today, actually, they were supposed to have preliminary tournament games. They have been canceled. Just because of the COVID outbreaks. And it's still up in the air if Germany's going to be able to play. And that's important to us because Canada starts their tournament on Boxing Day against Germany. But right now they're down 8 players because they're all COVID positive. And Germany have to quarantine until this upcoming Thursday. And the tournament starts on Christmas, which is Friday. So they're going to go without a practice until the first day of the tournament, which is not ideal. But I guess we'll see where that goes. Everyone's in the bubble though. They're going to go forward with the tournament. And,
that's a lot of hockey news.
We'll see where it goes. Yeah, it kind of all came out of nowhere, but I'm excited for the World Juniors. It'll be good to have something on TV that's hockey and not the KHL.
Yes.
All right, you want to take it away with this Kawhi story?
Yeah, man. Might as well. So, doesn't necessarily taint my perception of Kawhi Leonard as a player, but NBA world news is that it kind of happened as we released our last episode, right? Probably throughout the week that a man by the name of John Wilkes, who claims, I don't know if it's claims or probably is associated to, I don't know if he's associated to the Clippers like under contract or anything, but he's associated to Jerry West through like extension of a relationship, whatever. And this John Wilkes is suing the Clippers and Jerry West for $2.5 million for what he claims to be unpaid, just unpaid salary, whatever, for him and his job in recruiting Kawhi Leonard to the Clippers. Right. And so that broke out early this week. And then they asked Kawhi his like words on it. He's just like, I'm from here, like here as in Southern California. He's like, a lot of people are just out to get money. It won't be the first time and last time you hear about it, type of thing, which was like a blatant Kawhi response, right? So it wasn't necessarily news catching from what he said, but what I what I dove into on the internet was that it had a lot to do with his uncle Dennis Robertson. Dennis Robertson, or Uncle Dennis, is what he's kind of gone by in the media, in the NBA media, I guess, just because it's easier for him to say, and that's what he's got. He's kind of making a name for himself ever since Kawhi won the championship with the Raptors. I'm not too sure what his position is with Kawhi, in terms of like if he's his agent or if he's just his uncle who makes like some decisions for him. But Uncle Dennis had himself involved in pretty much every single contract negotiation that was going on in free agency when Kawhi was choosing between the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Raptors.
Right.
So I heard that Masai and Jeannie Buss, so Masai is the Raptors, and Jeannie Buss is the owner, GM of the Lakers. And so they were negotiating with Kawhi and Uncle Dennis, and Uncle Dennis was like requesting ownerships in the team along with his own private accommodations in terms of flying and housing. Aside from Kawhi's numbers and his contract salary and his personal, like I think even Kawhi, they wanted both. They both wanted like ownerships in teams, which was just kind of something I never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Masai, I don't know about Masai, but I heard that Jeannie Buss said like this is illegal, like we can't do some of this stuff. So she took the high road. She kind of stopped, and Kawhi didn't have anywhere to go with the Lakers. And then I guess this is where John Wilkes came in, and he was friends, I think, with Uncle Dennis. And so through being friends with Uncle Dennis, he told Jerry West what to say, right, to persuade Kawhi and Uncle Dennis. He knew what they wanted, right? So he kind of helped negotiate why the Clippers, like he said that the Clippers would need to get Paul George to make it interesting for Kawhi, and you saw what happened, So Kawhi joins the Clippers, and then this investigation opens, and so just like that's not necessarily like I know what's going to happen, you know what's going to happen, but like potential outcomes is that this happened one time in 2000 with the Minnesota Timberwolves and Joe Smith, and so like a similar situation. They manipulated the NBA rules, I guess, to sign Joe Smith.
Yeah.
And I just noted that Joe Smith's like his worth, not his worth overall in his career, but like to me, his career stats were 10.6 rebounds and 1 assist. So it's just like
not good.
It's kind of like, okay, so what would it be if like a superstar caliber player like Kawhi and what he can do? Like, what's the outcome? Because the outcome for Joe Smith, the penalty for the Minnesota Timberwolves was they lost 5 first-round picks. So, and the rule, I don't know if it's been changed or if they just didn't mention it, but the rule also adds up to $10 million of a fine.
Wow.
And so I guess like that's the thing. Like the rule is written, I think it's like Article 35A3 is what I was reading, is that like there can't be any intermediaries involved in like the negotiating of contracts.
Right.
So like what goes to be found, like what gets found out, what gets discovered in this investigation is going to be interesting. Like 5 first-round picks on top of what they already gave up to get Paul George.
They don't have 5 first-round picks.
They don't have like those 5 first-round picks are from like 2030 into 2035 type of thing. Like that's eliminating. Like Kawhi's not going to be there. Like it's kind of like it is. Like it seems like okay, it's not like you lose Kawhi or he loses his contract or like that. But like as a Clippers organization, management staff, and fan, if you care, like you're like fuck, like there goes our future. Like who knows, right? And that was a rule, not a rule. It is the rule, but that was an instance in 2000. It's been 20 years, right? Like 21 years, maybe by the time this comes out. Like maybe it'll be 6. Like maybe it'll be a harsher. Who knows, right? Like this is a pretty big deal. Like Kawhi was one of them. Is probably at the time was the most sought after free agent, right? So
yeah, I mean, there's some. When this first came out, it was reported by TMZ, and say what you want about TMZ, but they get the story, and no matter how they get it.
Yeah, I was going to say that too, but I wasn't too sure. But I was like, TMZ.
Yeah. So they reported just that. They were like, the way people were taking it was, oh, some guy is saying he helped bring Kawhi to the Clippers, and now he wasn't paid, so he's suing for the money he's owed. And then everyone was like, okay, well, anybody can say that. But then there was a voicemail released between this guy and who was it? Jerry West, I believe. Yeah, between Jerry West and this guy who leaked this voicemail to TMZ saying pretty much with Jerry West on the phone, like agreeing to this deal and saying he doesn't understand why Kawhi would want to go to the shit show in Los Angeles, which he was referring to the Lakers. So the story's getting more and more interesting. As for the punishment, I think it'd be really harsh because I think it was Adam Silver came out a couple years. It might have been the last offseason or maybe the offseason before. And he said, like, no, we're cracking down on tampering. It will not happen. Like, we're not doing this. You guys.
And that's a great thing to mention because as I was reading articles, it said that. And it's not just that he mentioned that back then. It's like, that's what he stands by, right? Like Adam Silver stands by that regardless of like what he's done when he's come into the league, right? Like his first thing he did was get rid of the Clippers owner that made the comments to the team. And that was a huge decision. Like that was like, it was the players now, like LeBron and Chris Paul were like, yeah, like that was a big day. Like if he let him stay or if he fired him, like that would have been a big deal for players in the NBA. Like and he did the right thing. And it clearly shows that he doesn't tolerate the bullshit, right? So if you could imagine the rule and then him, it's individual personality. Like anyone could be a GM or a Adam Silver commissioner and enforce rules, but if it's the type of guy he is, right?
Right. And the thing is, Kawhi's kind of exempt from this whole situation because there hasn't been there's a paper trail between the guy who's suing and Jerry West and vice versa, but there's been nothing coming out saying that this guy supposedly talked to Kawhi yet. And all Kawhi has to say is, I was going to sign with the Clippers anyway.
Yeah,
exactly. And he's exempt. But if there's proof there's communication between these two parties, maybe they can link it to Kawhi. I don't know. If they'll terminate his contract, who knows? It could be a suspension. Is Jerry West the NBA logo? Is he the dude?
Yeah, Jerry West is the logo.
That logo's gone. They're going to replace it with DeMar DeRozan. I don't know.
That would be crazy, actually.
It'd probably be Kobe.
Let's clip this right now, right? Let's ask the fans what would they do if who would they have as the logo if something was to happen with Jerry West and his integrity with the NBA?
It'd be Kobe.
Kobe. I mean, I don't even want to disrespect that. So
it'd probably be Kobe, right? I can't see it being.
What do you guys think?
Maybe Connor McDavid, just cross sport promotion.
Put McGregor on the cover.
There you go. Jake Paul will do it too. But yeah, so like that Kawhi story is just wild and
it adds to his interesting resume of his career in terms of basketball negotiations.
There's always controversy surrounding him, right?
Yeah, but outside of the court, he's a good basketball player on the court.
Yes. What do you have here? GM 2021 season.
Oh yeah, let's dive into that. So the GM 20. So the predictions for next year, I don't know, whatever. The survey came out where I guess the NBA polls all the 30 plus 29, I don't even know, what is it? Commissioners, GMs rather, in the NBA, asks them their, I'm going to pull it up right now, asks them the general consensus, right, on what they think the upcoming awards are going to be and like distinctions for the year. So I'll throw some weird ones at you. Let me know if you agree or not, because some of them are like super straightforward. Like 81% of GMs think that the Lakers will win the finals as well. Interesting is the most likely player to have a breakout season, and voted as a tie at 15% was Shea Gilgeous and Michael Porter Jr.
Okay.
I agree with that. I mean, Shea and Michael Porter Jr. both show great hints, right, of greatness. Why not average something this year? That's very good. That's like a safe choice probably, right?
Yeah.
They think that Curry is the best point guard, and after a year off or so, like that's going to be hard for him to like show, right? So it's going to be, they have good faith in him. Third pick overall, right? They have LaMelo Ball winning the Rookie of the Year. What do you think?
Maybe. I don't know how his
consistency is.
He's a big character, right? He might let all this go to his head right away and have a rough first season.
Right. I hear you.
About that one.
I want to know what you think too, because it's like, for me, it's like, yeah, he is. They have them. They always put the most of his highlights out, right? And all of his so therefore GMs and stuff, people see that he gets votes. But at the same time, if you care about basketball, like there's guys like Rookie of the Year. Think about it. Like Cole Anthony just went at him last night.
Yeah.
Edwards has been tearing it up. Like, yeah, sure, but at the same time, there's a lot of sleeper picks.
Rookie of the Year is a tough one in any sport because you just don't know how the player is going to transition into the top league, right?
And then they have Serge Ibaka as like the most underrated acquisition of the offseason, which
I can agree with that.
could be coming off of a championship and like personal numbers. He's just doing well.
Yeah.
On the last page, they have Eric Spoelstra of the Miami Heat, almost coming in at 50% agreement of him being the best coach in the NBA, which is interesting, right? So
Yeah.
you have like good coaches. You have what he did last year, and you have what I guess it's for what he's expected to do this year with the Heat. But the league's got a lot tougher, right? So he had a really. It's like you saw Spoelstra in his greatness when the Heat went further, and I don't know how much it had to do with. Like, sure, it probably does have a lot to do with his game plan, but Jimmy Butler just heart and soul that too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a coach of the year is again a tough one.
Yeah, and then everyone thinks that Steve Nash will have the biggest impact in terms of a new person on the team, which I could totally.
That could be positive or negative.
Right, and that's about it. That's all of importance, really. So, just a couple key things if you care about
Voting.
General professional opinions, really, I guess, of the NBA. I don't have to talk about that coaches program right now. It's kind of too much time. You want to go into some recent contract situations?
Yeah, Rudy Gobert, who some would say started the coronavirus outbreak in North America by touching all those microphones.
That is such a harsh. That is such a.
Nah, I'm just goofing on the guy. He, some people were saying no team would ever sign him again because of that, and I was like, okay, he's still a pretty good athlete. He has signed a 5-year max contract.
What did you think was going to happen? The guy's a defensive player of the year. Like it's Corona was going to. I can't say Corona was going to happen, but if it was going to happen in the sports world, it just happened unfortunately to him. Doesn't mean it's going to affect his basketball career, man.
Right, and he's still a good player, and he deserves this contract. Kind of an odd time. Good time to sign. Good lock in for the team, and I don't really have too much to say about it because I think everybody.
Giannis signed his supermax, got his money.
Yeah, that changes a lot of teams' plans. I think.
Who's Kylie?
Who?
This guy wrote Kylie Harden updates. What's a Kylie? Do you mean Kyrie?
I meant Kyrie.
That's awesome. Kylie Jenner is on the show today. We are mentioning the Kardashians and keeping up with them.
Oh, your mom's gonna be pissed about that.
But what are you gonna talk about, Kyrie? The Sage?
Well, I just for the Giannis contract, I think that changes a lot of teams' plans because I think a lot of them were banking on him going to free agency. And that kind of changes how teams are going to approach this offseason. I think the Raptors are one of those teams. I don't know how these teams are going to adjust, and that's a big name off the free agency board. So we'll see how that goes. Just a note on that. And then, Kyrie Irving was caught going around the Celtics arena with Sage, kind of kicking out the bad spirits. Charles Barkley sounded off on him, saying, "You sound like you think you're the smartest guy in the world. You're not. Just go and play basketball." This is not
actually not like what Charles Barkley has to say a lot of the time.
This is not a popular dude right now in Kyrie Irving. So I think he kind of needs to dial it back a little bit. He's messing with the media. He's messing with the fans. He's kind of doing what he wants to do. And yeah, you can do all this stuff, but if your play on the court is crap, it's coming back to bite you as you're a distracted player who just wants the spotlight on them. So
that's a fair assumption. To be honest with me, though, right? I love it. I love not that I love like the Sage or that I love like burning shit. Like I'm sure it was pretty awkward. Like I know a Sage, like I've done it before at my place of work. It was weird. Like I had people believe in it. It's cool. Like it does what it does. If it clears minds of people who believe in it, it's cool. But it's like burning. It's kind of really pungent. It's really strong. Like if I was on the other team, and even if I saged, if that's even the term for doing it, right? Like if I was a person like Kyrie who saged at my home, at my personal places, but I saw him doing it there, I'd be like, and if I was against him that day, I am a shit disturber competitor, right? Like just average 10 minutes all the time in hockey. So I'd be going over there, I'd be grabbing the shit out of his candle. I'd be telling the security to tell him like, it's a fire hazard. You can't do this. It's a policy, like fine him. I'd be finding all the ways to get this man to stop. But like, if that wasn't the case, like it's interesting. There's no fans. So it's like, okay, what, like Kyrie seems a little high. He just like, seems like he's just out in space doing his own thing, waving around his shit. And but it's just like and in terms of his play, it hasn't, right? It's preseason, but he's shown out, right? So
I don't know what this guy's doing. I
like it. We got to create a dynamic, and it's not even just do to create a dynamic. Just kind of like I am interested by it. I do genuinely think Kyrie can like do this positively. Like sure, it's looking weird right now, but if you know if it keeps him peaceful, right? If it keeps him on the court as an NBA product, right? Then who knows how positive it is.
I don't have a problem with what he's doing because it's content for us to talk about. It's better than him just doing nothing, right? But it just seems kind of weird. I don't really see any other athletes doing stuff like this. And
yo, are we done with the NBA? Because I just want to scream for you.
1 second. James Harden update. He showed up to the Rockets, I guess, camp. He finally showed up. He looked really overweight, played a game, played all right. And then the next day he showed up looking like 30 pounds lighter.
It's actually insane.
Which was really, I think he sat in the sauna all night. So
that's what we think, right?
Just kind of weird. But go ahead. You can scream for me.
Oh, on a rare Saturday, rather, the Buffalo Bills.
I thought they played on Sunday. I knew about the game like half an hour before.
The AFC East?
Yep.
So there we go. What do you have to say? Take it away.
Bills beat the Broncos 48-19, not even close. Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs locking it down for Buffalo, clinching the AFC East title for the first time since 1995, securing a home game in Bills Stadium. Sickening there's going to be no crowd, though, because that crowd would be rocking. This game, I was watching it on my phone because there was a Christmas movie on in the living room, and they look good. Josh Allen, 28 for 40, 359 yards, which is a lot. 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Him and Diggs were connecting all game. Diggs had 11 receptions, 147 yards. Just these two are connecting on all levels, and they are carrying the Bills. I think the Bills are real contenders here. They're better than the Steelers. Are they better than they might be on par with the Packers? I don't think they're good enough to beat the Chiefs, though. But anything can happen in the playoffs, man. The Bills are definitely a top 4 team in the NFL right now, and they're just going to keep rolling all the way. Hopefully, fuck it, I'm on board. Let's go win the Super Bowl.
Fuck it. Of course you're on board.
Right? Like, it's going to be exciting.
This is going to be funny when it comes out because it's probably going to come out right after all the scores. But right now it's
right.
Just before, the first kickoff of the day's games on Sundays. So give us the preview. Give us to us quick. We don't got to spend too much time on it.
Okay, so Jags-Ravens. Jags 1-12. Ravens 8-5. The Ravens are coming off of a game against Cleveland, the Cleveland Browns. And that game was exciting. Went right down to the last second. And there was that scene, I'm sure everybody's seen it on Twitter, Lamar Jackson running to the locker room because he was having cramps. I don't know if it was cramps or if he had to drop the kids off at the pool or something. But then he ran back out to the.
He really did, though. He really did drop the Browns off.
There you go. And then.
He even dropped the real Browns off.
And then this is my last podcast episode now. That joke was too bad.
Oh.
And then the Ravens got the win against the Browns to keep their playoff hopes alive. So they're looking for hopefully an easy win against the Jags. They've had 34 plus points in their last two games. We got another game, Texans-Colts. Colts are 9-4, Texans 4-9. Colts have won 3 of their last 4 against Houston. This should be an easy win for the Colts. Lions at 5-8 against the Titans, who are 9-4. The Tennessee Titans have had 35.3 points per game since week 11, which is the most in the NFL. So they're hoping to keep their playoff push alive by beating the Lions, and the Lions are looking to stay alive with a win. The Buccaneers are going up against the Falcons. It's the battle of former Super Bowl quarterbacks. I'm sure we all remember that game where the Falcons were leading 28-3. And then Tom Brady and at the time Patriots stormed back. Was that the one with the power outage?
No, that was the 49ers and the Ravens, was it not?
Might have been, yeah.
The power outage game was the Harbaughs versus the Harbaughs, and was that not?
I don't know.
Was it
whatever game it was? The Falcons blew a 28-3 lead against the Patriots, and those two quarterbacks are going at it again today. The Buccaneers, they need a win here to keep their playoff push alive. The Falcons are all but done. Pats, Dolphins. Pats pretty much need to win out for a chance to make the playoffs. The Dolphins are looking to keep pace with the Bills, although they can't actually catch the Bills anymore because they just clinched the AFC East. So that's kind of irrelevant. But the Dolphins are hoping to keep that streak alive. They are in the same division as the Patriots, so they want it to stay ahead of them and can actually separate themselves with a win today. 49ers play the Cowboys. 49ers 5-8, Cowboys 4-9. Ezekiel Elliott will not be playing. He is inactive with a calf injury. Seahawks are playing Washington. Seahawks 9-4. Washington football team 6-7. Washington have won 7 of their last 8 games versus the Seahawks. But the Seahawks are looking really good right now, so I don't know if they stand much of a chance in that game. There's a lot of 1 p.m. games today. Bears and Vikings, both 6-7, but Minnesota has won have won 5 of their last 7 games after starting the season 1-5. So they're going to keep rolling here, hopefully. Then we get into the 4:00 games. Eagles, Cardinals, Hurts versus Murray, battle, kind of a nothing game here. Jets and Rams. The Jets are keeping the streak alive today, or does it end again? Probably not. They're going to go 0-4. I don't know. But the Jets are playing the Rams, so we'll see what happens there. But the Jets have fewer than 20 points in 9 games this season, so that'll be interesting. One game I'm going to have my eye on is Chiefs Saints. Drew Brees returning. He is coming off 3 broken ribs and punctured lungs, so it's going to be interesting to see how they protect him. They're going to be looking at a lot of short passes, handoffs, breakouts, and all that, and the Chiefs are going to be looking to hit the shit out of him and injure him. I don't know if the Saints can keep up with the Chiefs in this game just because of the scoring style of the Chiefs, and the Saints won't be able to keep pace there. Browns and Giants. Browns kind of need a win here to keep going. And then the Monday nighter, Steelers, Bengals.
Let's go. I think the Browns and Giants game got moved to primetime too, because
yes, it did.
It wasn't though initially, right? So
right, it's now 8:20.
Let's go. Let's get the Giants going here.
I think they bumped the Jets game.
Yeah, exactly. What else you got?
I think that's all for my NFL stuff. I don't really.
Yeah, you know what? NFL.
A couple other things. The Super Bowl. The NFL announced they will have a crowd at the Super Bowl, and they've invited vaccinated healthcare workers to be in the crowd, which I think is a great idea because you're kind of rewarding these people who have been manning the front lines and have been vaccinated, so there's no real risk to having these people in the crowd. It's a great PR move by the NFL.
Very interesting. Yeah.
And then that's all I have on the NFL, really.
Yeah, man. Oh my God. I know we have some other news. I know you want to, but you just talked a lot about the NFL. I want to mention this. It's just not even. It's not really like super close. But it just feels extra close to me, man. Just because I love everything that Tiger Woods has ever done for golf, and just to see his little boy on the golf course this weekend, swinging it the way he has, and like just finishing and putting the way he has, just. He's 11 years old. Charlie Woods, we're talking about. Like, and he could out-golf me with his eyes closed. 2 times over, playing 8. He'd play 36 holes and have a lower score than me through 18.
Guy got an eagle on a par 5.
That, honestly, and did you see that? It wasn't like his normal, it wasn't like a stock swing. Like, I talk golf, I know a little bit terms, who knows if you're listening. Like a stock swing is just whatever, right down the middle. He lined up. He was on the far edge of the left tee box on purpose to the swing was designed to go so in and out to draw the ball as hard as it did. Like it wasn't like, I guess obviously it's not by chance. That guy Charlie knew exactly how to do the swing, manipulate it so that the ball would curve that much, and he followed through it appropriately, walked out. And the thing that hit me the most was when they both walked around and peeked their head around the corner and watched the ball, and I was just like, holy fuck. Like, could you imagine, 10 years, 21, maybe he's 20 on the tour, and Tiger Woods just takes on the caddy role or something, and like, holy fuck, Tiger Woods caddying for Charlie Woods.
He probably would too.
Think about it. That's only 10 years away. I'm 21. Like, there's been teenagers, 19-year-olds, Matthew Fitzpatrick on the tour, all that stuff. So
yeah, and I think the thing that's standing out most for me this tournament, and I got a lot of laughs. It's the PNC Championship, I think. So you play in pair, like you play with a family member or something. So John Daly's playing with John Daly Jr.
And he's so good too.
But here's the thing. These sports outlets are only posting highlights of Tiger and Charlie, and someone commented, "Are there other people at this tournament?" And I'm just like, when Tiger comes to a tournament, that's all you see.
And that's all that matters. I get it. It's like It's probably different, like in the NBA, like when LeBron highlights, or like LaMelo highlights, LaMelo. It's like, are there other players or other games? It's just like for golf, this is pretty fucking huge.
Yeah, and Tiger's gonna draw, and it'd be interesting to see how they do. They're probably gonna win the tournament.
Like, why would you want to like, not that they will, but like if you show like John Daly smoking 5 cigars around instead of Charlie Woods and Tiger Woods, then it just shows that media is showing a better image of golf.
Right. I'm just looking up the leaderboard to see if they're in the
Today's
lead.
probably the last day, and they're both wearing red today. Oh my god, dude, these guys are killing me. Charlie and Tiger.
So Team Thomas is actually in the lead. Team Woods is tied 14th. They're 5 under. They're 15 under. The leader is 24 under, so it's not looking good.
All right, buddy. I had that. You have something on the XFL and the Russian Olympics.
Right. So the XFL, I'm sure we all know. We spoke about it on here before, but it's a football league that was started by Vince McMahon in 2001, played 2 seasons, and then folded because nobody watched it. And then it came back in 2020, played 5 games, and then there was something called the coronavirus that forced them to go bankrupt, and then was eventually bought by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson for $15 million, and it will restart in 2021. But Oliver Luck was the commissioner of the league and is suing Vince McMahon and the XFL for his salary that he wasn't paid due to the league being bankrupt and sold. And there's some legal dispute over if he should be paid or not. And Vince McMahon's pretty much had enough of this, and he went, no, give me your phone and your phone password. I want to go through it and see like what you've been up to have all this dirt on me and all that. So he asked for his phone code and was like, I want all this. And now he's legally trying to get access to his phone. So it's just kind of like, it's kind of weird that a WWE storyline would leak its way into the XFL. Who could have seen that coming? Just kind of crazy that.
Honestly, man, I think in terms of PR and like, we always say PR this, HR that, like terms that we think we like know a lot about, but like, in terms of like media relations for like a good amount of time for the next years for the XFL, I'm sure WWE will be incorporated. You have Dwayne and Vince, like just everything.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know, because they tried to do that. They tried to do that the first time, where they had WWE announcers like announcing XFL games as their characters, and that's what like put the league under, because football fans aren't necessarily WWE fans. So
that's a good point, actually.
But like, I think they could mix it in once in a while, but like I don't know how you do it. Like if the coin toss, does Stone Cold come out and just stunner the ref? Like I don't know.
Dude,
how you would do it.
I think Dwayne's going to do a way better job of running it too.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be fun. I wouldn't be surprised if he puts himself on one of the teams.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he talked about that too.
Because he played in the CFL for a little bit. So, yeah.
About the Olympics.
Let's close with the Olympics. Just a quick note. The Cleveland baseball team are dropping their name after this upcoming season, which makes absolutely no sense to me as why they're doing a victory tour with the name that they're dropping, because apparently it's offensive. So they're kind of like, oh, you want us to change it? Okay, yeah, we'll change it, but we're going to use it for one more season.
That's kind of like not the point.
It's a double FU.
Yeah.
I don't know, but they will be changing it just in, I guess, the 2022 season. So there's that too. I don't know what they're going to call it.
I'm not worried about it. The football team of Washington I don't even think they're going to come up with anything.
I kind of like Washington football team now.
I say it the wrong way, but I just don't even care for it. So
right, Washington. And lastly, Russia are not allowed, and there needs to be some clarification on this because the wording was weird, but Russia are not allowed to use the Russian flag or the Russian name at the next 2 Olympics, summer and winter, as well as any international world tournaments. So they will be, I think it was at the last one, they were the Olympic athletes of Russia, something like that. And their flag was the Olympic flag. It was something weird like that. So that's what they will have to go by. And I'm trying to get clarification. I'm messaging a couple people on if Russia will be at the World Juniors or if it'll be I don't even know what they would be called, the World Junior Athletes of Russia. Because that is
when they did that, the like Kovalchuk team won gold, right?
Right. So I don't know if like the World Juniors is an international tournament, but I don't know if they're going to be like the IIHF.
That's good.
It's weird.
It's like, I think that's because if you I'm thinking about it really quickly, right? Like that's the IOC, like that's Olympic run, like that's Olympic Federation do with Russia. I don't know if that's the double IHF, right? So
Right, that's what I'm trying to figure out but what falls under it is at the World Cup of Hockey, they won't be allowed to call Russia, which is double IHF. So I don't know where the line is drawn. It might be, they might allow Russia to use their name at the World Juniors just because there is the issue of the tournament is supposed to start in 5 days and you'd have to get new jerseys over there, new signage, new flags, all that stuff, right?
They probably haven't thought about that too hard yet.
Exactly. So I think they'll stick with Russia for the World Junior Championship. But just kind of interesting that the Russian name will not be at the Olympics for the next couple of years.
And that's
the show, folks. So we will see you on, when do you want to record? Tuesday?
Yeah, I could be down.
Let's do Tuesday. We'll do on Tuesday. We'll kind of do that'll be our last show before Christmas, and then we'll do after Christmas. So I think Tuesday we'll do a World Junior preview, and then
we got some guests.
We got some guests coming up. We'll take a little break before Christmas, and then we'll be back right after Christmas in the midst of the World Junior and the NHL starting. Don't forget to subscribe. Every subscription from now until Christmas Eve adds a donation, adds $2 to the donation. Comment, like, reach out to us, tell us what you want to hear. So until then, we will see you soon. See you on Tuesday.